Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Colin with MicroPro Tools, and today we're gonna change our transmission fluid. It's my goal not only to get this job done, but to show you guys that with the right equipment and a little bit of insight, you guys can work on your cars like the pros do. So first things first, before we actually get to the car, is to gather everything we're gonna need for this project. So we have our jack to get the car in the air. We have our jack stands to secure it in the air. Always use two and always use them. We have our transmission fluid that we're gonna replace. We have the drain pan to collect all the old transmission fluid as it's coming out. Our breaker bar to get the drain plug out, and a funnel to help us not spill anything all over the engine bay. So let's get to it. Once we've located our jack point, we can slide our jack under the car and get it in the air. All right, now that the car's in the air, step two, jack stands. Here we have our MicroPro jack stands. These things are super strong. The rack bars are actually forged instead of cast, which you find on most jack stands, but it allows them to be smaller. That way they save a little weight, but they're actually just as strong. Always use jack stands in pairs, so I'm gonna throw this guy's twin on the other side. We're gonna leave the jack here, but I'm gonna release it just slightly. That way the weight of the car transfers to our jack stands. Now that we got our jack out of the way, it's time to grab our breaker bar. The drain plug has a 3/8 inch square receiver on it, so we actually won't even need a socket. This will just slide right in. We also have our drain pan. We'll get that in position. And then finally, a roll of paper towels. You show me someone who can change the fluids on their car without making a mess, and I'll show you a liar. Here's our drain plug right here. We'll get it lined up with our breaker bar. And then we're just gonna use a ball peen hammer to tap it into place. So while this all drains out, you're gonna wanna take your oil drain plug right here. It's got a magnetic tip to it, so it collects any loose particles of metal that are floating around in the oil case. You just wanna wipe it off on a paper towel. Look at all this dark metallic gunk that got collected on it. With the magnetic tip of our bolt cleaned off and the fluid drained out, we can move on to the next step of cleaning up any oil that might have spilled and getting this back in. It's usually good practice to change out the crush washer, but it's not essential every time. Just make sure that you don't over torque the bolt and strip out those threads. You may be wondering what to do with your old oil. Feel free to dump it in your neighbor's lawn. Just kidding. You should be able to put it in any plastic container. Next time you're at the auto parts store or even the mechanic, give it to them. They should be able to dispose of it properly. We're now ready to drop the car back down on the ground. This is where the speedy lift function of this jack really comes in handy. Look at how quickly I can get all the way up to the lift point. Who knew it was this easy to be a professional mechanic? The transmission fluid dipstick, as well as the fill port, is right down here. I'll reach down and unscrew it. We can now drop our funnel down in the fill port, fill it up with new oil. We'll take it around the block to get that new oil hot, and then we'll check our levels. For this step, it helps to have an extra long funnel to get down in there. We're gonna fill it up with about 2.5 quarts. Dipstick back in, take it around the block. All right, now that we're back, let's check the levels. Nailed it. That's how you change your transmission fluid with MicroPro Tools.